understand DNA. And what I told you earlier is that Watson and Crick's model was incomplete because what they said was that one gene was in charge of encoding one specific thing. Dr. Garayev from the Genome Linguistics Institute in Moscow had proposed an alternative model. And that model says that your DNA is a holographic optical and sound system that is giving your information in space and time and emitting it as light. So when our DNA is being read, one gene is being read in the context of your entire space and time, your holographic program. So your little toe knows that your brain, your ear, and your heart are functioning, and it knows it when it reads that one gene. So that is why CRISPR gene editing hasn't solved all diseases, because CRISPR gene editing does not know about the holographic context of the whole throughout space-time. So what has been shown in studies is that the genetic information of a biological organism can be captured as that holographic light and sound form, and it can actually be transferred from one species of a frog away 5 kilometers through a laser to another species of a frog, and you have transmitted that genetic information. So what that means is that we can manipulate genes through light and sound. So let's say someone is ill and we give them molecules that are increasing the electricity within their system. So that is mass to mass. You're going to take, things like vitamin C, which is a profound electron donor, and all of its beneficial effects are related to its capacities to solve electrons in a watery solution, create an electrical current. That is why it can be acting like a panacea of healing. You have things like peptides. They have optical properties. They have a twist. That twist encodes certain colors and information. So you have a peptide like GHK copper that is able to give proton atomic energy to a system. And how is it possible that one molecule can reset 30% of the human genes back to health? Well, now we know. By giving this atomic energy, the entire coherent whole is uplifted to a greater energy level and therefore to a greater state of health. The Blue Room utilizes ultraviolet blue light. Ultraviolet blue light at that frequency has 10 to the power of 40 more photons than would be expected in what's called a thermodynamic equilibrium. So one photon can set off a cascade of 100,000 chemical reactions, remember? So what can a one with 40 zeros of photons do in your system? Why does the Blue Room work? So our skin has melanin, and that melanin has a mechanism to absorb light. We can store it in our system, and now we can use it for healing energy. The same concept. So we are able to increase the overall energy in the biological system. We're accelerating the spin of electron, and we have just changed your space-time. We have reversed the time in your body. And we have done that because as we change the spin of your particle mass, we have changed torsion, and that affects all of these different properties. So we've age reversed you. So the other way that cells can function is they can utilize sound waves, phonons. So you are actually emitting sound, just as you're emitting light. And that sound is frequency specific to you. If we are now using a healing sound, like Jay-Z is doing in her Blue Room, your cells are able to utilize that energy again, to upregulate the whole, to produce more energy, and create greater health. So these mechanisms, in a very simplified way, would set the basis of a new medical science, a new paradigm, because it is a different way of understanding how molecules work and how we can utilize light and sound to heal people. If we utilize more and more of these modalities, would it be possible to reduce the healing time substantially and accelerate it to a degree that, let's say we had a stroke victim, can't speak, can't talk, can't walk, can't see, can't read or write. And we would give them molecules that electrically enhance them. We would also detox metals that are interfering with the proper reading of the hologram. Why do chemtrails contain aluminum? Why do vaccines contain metals, palladium, titanium, steel? Because metals not only are electrical conductors, but if used in a nefarious way or in a toxic way, like lead, cadmium, arsenic, all of the things that we're exposed to in our environment, they have optical properties that will scramble the light of the healthy hologram. Do you understand? So if you remove those heavy metals, if you remove heavy metals from an autistic child whose brain has been poisoned with mercury, and you take that out, you restore the natural hologram and the body will be able to heal itself. So if we do that, so we remove the toxic heavy metals, and we are giving molecules that are enhancing the electrical mechanism, we send people to the blue room. We tell them to self-correct. We want them to be joyful, to find new ways of expressing themselves, new hope, because all of that uplifts their overall energy state in the body. So our system that is interfacing with the spiritual entity that we are has quantum properties. Your brain is a quantum computer. It has the capacity for phenomenal computation. There is a certain switch in your brain that prevents you from actually experiencing that, but that switch can be undone and has been done with brainstem scarring. So you have these super whiz kids who can do phenomenal computations. So you are able to do that. Also, your DNA has infinite capacity because we have genes that belong to animals like, whales don't get cancer. They have 20 copies of P53, which is a certain gene that mutates in humans and creates cancer. So we are able to potentially genetically engineer humans of a whole different caliber in a new science. And we can do it by utilizing optogenetic systems. Your cells respond to light. You don't need to clip a gene. You just give it a light signal, and all aspects of cellular mechanism can be controlled by that. So bioengineering of superhumans can be done with light. So this book was inspired by Ramtha's teaching. It was inspired by Jay-Z Knight, who in her Mercy Blue Room program allowed me to explore new modalities, and then in my own office at AM Medical, to put these combination therapies together. So even though I am utilizing things that people know about, like vitamin C and peptides, and they've heard about that in chelation, the way these modalities are being put together based on their light value and the individual needs of the person is new, and it doesn't exist anywhere in the world. So